Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moneycontrol. We are back with Tech Up, a weekly podcast on the latest in gadgets, personal technology, AI, and everything in between. I'm your host, Abhas Sharma, and today we are going beyond the hardware and software and talking about the neural network which is right between your ears. It was November 2022 when ChatGPT arrived on the scene. Before that, AI was perhaps a buzzword and doing its work quietly in the background. But OpenAI's ChatGPT changed that, and AI went from a buzzword to becoming a part of the mainstream narrative. From boardrooms to classrooms, from conference rooms to living rooms, AI has dramatically made its presence felt. But what about the psychological effects of interacting with AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, Microsoft's Copilot, and many others that have popped on the scene? What does it really mean when your late night thoughts are answered not by a friend, a companion, but by a language model? Is it really healthy? Is it actually helpful? Or we are slowly outsourcing more than just productivity to AI chatbots? Some would say that more than productivity, we have also started to outsource our creativity. Can chatbots really replace the good old therapist? To help us break all this down, I am joined by someone who knows the human mind better than machines. Dr. Sidharth Chowdhury, a renowned neuropsychiatrist and Vice President of Clinical Operations at Rxmen. I also have with me my colleague and Deputy News Editor at Moneycontrol, Ankita Chakravarti, who has been following the AI developments for a long time. Dr. Chowdhury, welcome to Tech Up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me begin with asking a simple question. Do you use any AI chatbots on a daily basis? And if yes, then for what purpose do you actually use them?
Yes, I do. To get rid of quite a bit of the mundane tasks, I usually sort of have images generated for my LinkedIn posts. It's always easier to work with than Canva for the time being. So yeah, I do.
All right. I also have with me my colleague Ankita Chakravarti, who will now delve deeper into the conversation with Dr. Chowdhury. Ankita, over to you.
Thank you, Abbas, and welcome to the show, Sadat. It's so good to have you here. You know, while preparing for this chat, I came across something that you wrote on LinkedIn. You said your grief doesn't need an API, it needs a witness. That line hit hard. So can you tell me a little more about what you meant by that, especially now when so many people are turning to AI for emotional support in their loneliest, most vulnerable moments?
Words of what you said, there was no audio prior to that. If you could be kind enough to just say it out again.
Okay, so while I was preparing for this chat, I came across something that you wrote on LinkedIn. You said your grief does not need an API, it needs a witness. So could you please tell us what you really meant by that statement, considering more people are turning to AI for emotional support?
Fair enough. It was obviously supposed to be a bit of a that line was supposed to be more attention grabby than anything else, because that's probably what pushes the LinkedIn algorithm. However, if I were to look at a more deeper space, I do believe that a chatbot can provide immediate support, but unfortunately, that is not what mental health work is. Therapeutic work is hard work. It's not immediate results. It's a lot of discomfort at times. It's a lot of depth, and it requires pause and poise. I don't believe, with whatever little wisdom I might have, that AI is at the space to be able to offer what I would call poise when there is silence. There's always a constant response that is generated, and sometimes that is not what is needed by a person. Yeah.
Honestly, I'll admit I have done it too. There have been times when I've asked ChatGPT for advice about things I wouldn't even tell my closest people, and it felt oddly comforting. Like, I didn't have to explain myself, I just typed it out and it gave me something that made me feel seen. No judgment, no awkwardness. So, but is there a danger in becoming too emotionally reliant on something that can never truly understand the messy, complicated nature of human emotions?
I do believe that dependence on something that is available 24/7 is a bit of a challenge because it just goes ahead and lets us depend on instant gratification. However, there was a proverb that my grandfather would sort of use often. Therapeutic work is very much like, okay, comparison between what ChatGPT or other generative AI tools can offer versus real therapeutic work. The difference is very well explained by the proverb that says that if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, he eats for the rest of his life. I do believe that when somebody is spelling it out to you, even if it were a therapist or even if I, as a professional, was spelling things out to you, it does not really stick. It probably lands, but it's a short-term realization. It doesn't really stick for the longest of durations. However, with therapeutic work, if that thought process or that answer comes across, for the lack of a better word, from within, that is where change or that is where growth truly happens. So, yeah.
For something as deeply personal and layered as grief, do you think AI can ever be a safe, meaningful tool? Or does it fall short in moments when what we really need is another human being? Can AI genuinely help someone process those heavy emotions in a lasting, healing way? Or is it just a temporary fix, more like a quick escape?
I'm going to veer to a personal example here. Dealing with a few challenges on the personal front with the extended family. I also realized that my next therapy session was at least a week and a half away. So, like any good, what do I call it? A person who is saying stuff on LinkedIn but deciding to try things otherwise, I decided to go ahead and see if I could have ChatGPT give me an answer to what I was going through at that point in time. The answer was succinct, the answer was very lucid, it made absolute sense. But somewhere at that point in time, I just needed somebody to listen to me and be with me rather than give me an answer as to what I need to do next. I did not need an SOP document on how I could tackle things. I just needed somebody to, hear me rant. I don't think we are at that stage yet. Perhaps if again, medically, perhaps it might not be valid, but I do think that generative AI does lack what we would call a soul in conversations.
Right, right. On the other hand, though, there is this argument that AI makes people feel less lonely, like you mentioned. That it gives them someone or something to talk to anytime, anywhere. But is AI actually addressing the root cause of loneliness, or is it quietly making it worse by, giving us the illusion of connection?
I do believe it's making it worse. We have young children coming up in therapeutic spaces, adolescents who have romantic partners that are essentially AI bots. If anything, that is taking away our skill to just have a normal conversation. Even if the conversation was sometimes as forced as, hey, how's the weather? Do you enjoy it? Something of that sort. We're essentially losing a sense of having that basic conversation with another human being. So, yes, we might have a bot that is available to us 24/7, but perhaps we're losing the ability to connect.
I think it's fascinating how people can form real emotional attachments to AI. Do you think this could one day lead people to value these digital connections more than actual human relationships?
I do think there is a possibility. In fact, in a lot of cases where people do feel that they're misunderstood by other humans per se, it does get to a point where they would perhaps think that, hey, yes, maybe AI understands me better. And that would sort of have them have a deeper connection with an AI bot. Maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, again, delving into a personal example, I like dogs better than humans. I would actually absolutely be nice to every dog I were to come across, but maybe not the same with humans because I feel a little uncomfortable. I feel a little anxious. I do think that a bot can also help with that, but that's not exactly resolving what might be making me anxious or what might make me avoid conversations. It's a very ostrich-like situation. There is problem. There is a troubling issue. I am shoving my head into the sand. I can't see the issue, so it doesn't exist.
Right, right, right. Siddharth, when we seek therapy, it's not just about the right word. It's about presence. It's about being understood by another person, who has the professional knowledge. But now that people are getting constant non-judgmental support from AI chatbots, do you think there is a danger of people, starting to undermine the value of human therapists? What, in your view, makes the presence of a human therapist so irreplaceable? Something, no matter how advanced the language model is, it will never be able to, truly replace a human therapist.
Yes, for the first part, I do think that there are a lot of people who are going to turn to AI chatbots for support, and they already are. When it comes to why I think humans are irreplaceable, because it's very easy to talk, it's very easy to yap, or in the case of AI, it's very easy to be generative. But it comes back to if a person is crying, talking about perhaps one of the worst experiences they've ever had in their life, they don't really need an answer at that point of time. It's maybe the day AI can learn to hold silence, then I suppose I would be more than willing to change my views.
Right, right. Okay. And here's something I've really been thinking about, since AI is designed to always say the right thing, the kind thing, the comforting thing. Could this create an unrealistic standard of emotional support? Could it end up affecting people's self-esteem or resilience if they get too used to this perfectly supportive, always available version of comfort?
I do think that is a possibility. I do forget, however, the name of the particular app that this young adolescent had mentioned, where they had sort of had access to what would be called romantic partners, or what the child called a boyfriend per se. Um, she did take note of the fact that the first one that was present there was fairly abusive. The second one had fairly gaslighting behavior, and the third one seems to be okay, but because he's not as hurting as everybody else and seems less like a bully, even when compared to people around her in her school. So I'm not really sure if, when especially when models come across to offering companionship and they're supposed to imitate or mimic real life tendencies of people, there is a stark possibility that just like humans are, there are going to be good, bad, and perhaps the ugly as well. So on certain portions, yes, I'm sure dependence on generative AI that is supposed to say the nice thing. I mean, my chat GPT's pro subscription is used to, the pleases and the thank yous, and it's very warm and kind. But I'm pretty sure if I were training it in a certain way, it would respond to me in a certain way, and that does not really bode very well.
Right, and
Siddharth,
this brings me to my last question to you. So, with AI tools becoming such a big part of our emotional lives, how do we find a balance? How can AI be used in a way that complement human support without replacing those flawed, raw, beautiful connections that truly make us feel alive?
AI could, I mean, okay, I'll give you my use of AI in working through a few things. I might have a lot of thoughts that are going on through my head. I, for a person being dyslexic, I barely have a handwriting. Forget horrible handwriting. I can't read what I've written. Nobody can read what I've written. It does help for me to be able to type out stuff on my what I call my diary, what I call my homework diary, on my own version of the custom GPT that I use. It does help me organize those thoughts. So the next time I'm in a therapy session, I'm able to actually get them across to my therapist in a discernible manner, in a manner where it is understandable. And because ChatGPT might be able to pick up on my, I'm typing stuff. I'm obviously making spelling mistakes as a dyslexic person. If I talk to it, it obviously picks it up more easily. But even with my spelling mistakes, it makes thought organization easier. So yes, I could always use it to organize my thoughts rather than end up at a space where in my therapy session, I really wanted to work on something, but I got sidetracked and I ranted about stuff because I was not able to make sense of the flow of thoughts that I was having. So sure, I mean, why not help me make notes on what I would really want to talk about?
Well, thank you so much, Sadat, for joining us today. And now over to you, Abbas.
Thank you so much, Sidharth. Thank you so much, Ankita. But before we wrap this up, Sidharth, I had just one more question. If there's one thing you'd want people who use AI chatbots to interact on a daily basis for personal as well as professional things, what do you want them to remember about maintaining mental health while using these tools? What would that be?
I suppose don't use it as an excuse not to have a real conversation. I mean,
All
people might be horrible around us, but um, life is an experience. I mean, you just can't have it move on by or pass you on by while while you've got your head in the screen and you're typing continuously and reading responses that are generated at a fairly fast rate. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much again, Sidharth, for being on the show. It's clear that while AI chatbots can be helpful, there is a deeper conversation to be had about how we use them, why we use them, and what that actually says about us. You've been watching Tech Up. I'm Abhas Sharma. I'll catch you next week. Until then, stay curious and stay kind. Do not forget to follow, like, and subscribe Money Control. Thank you for watching.